Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Mayor's Wrap. We've got a lot to tell you today, but first of all, I want to talk about it being St. Patrick's Day. Mayor Christie, I think you have a story, don't you?
I do. My grandmother, my father's mother, was a Mathewson, and her great whatever, in 1833, emigrated from Ireland and ended up in Montreal running a greengrocer's. He married a lady from Pennsylvania, funny enough, and they ended up having 7 kids, and that greengrocer stayed in the family until 1940.
Wow.
So we have long tenure between Ireland, America, and Canada.
Yes, you do. And you have your Ireland shirt on today.
I do. My wife picked this up for me on one of her trips to Ireland.
Yeah. And as always, your signature socks.
My signature socks.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Okay, we got a lot to talk about, but I think you want to maybe start with a recap of the highlights of everything that happened in 2020 other than COVID.
Well, if I can, I'll just cover off the 2021 financials for January. As you've heard me speak before, we're always 2 months behind because state takes 2 months to process the sales tax. But I'm pleased to report that we're still in excellent shape. On the revenue side, we actually exceeded the budget by $159,000. The 2 strong ones continue to be city sales tax, and the 2 big ones are the internet, so thank you for buying at home, and of course the huge amount of building that's going on here on new residential homes. And on the expense side, we're actually $108,000 under budget.
Great.
And I'm always tickled pink when I have a look at our reserve. Our reserve continues to be over $9 million, which is 55% of our unrestricted income. Mm-hmm. We only have to keep 25% by the policy that I put in place in 2018, but we have double that, more than double that. So we're in good shape. If you remember last year, we were a little nervous as to what COVID was going to do to us. But in the end, we did very well. So I thank everybody, especially for those that are shopping at home. That has really been a great boost for us. And
so keep it up.
Keep it up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we could move into the highlights for last year. This is basically the state of the city that I have to give every year. I'm not going to read it, but we had the bond, of course, and the electorate very kindly said, okay, I'll let you have a 1% increase. That was in the primaries of March last year, just a little over a year ago. And so we're well on our way. We got the construction managers and the architects all selected and the civil engineers all selected, and made a lot of progress last year, and then I'll give an update a little later on as to where we really are. We finally finished our 3-year 2040 comprehensive plan. It's land use, so you're looking out for the next 20 years and what do we think it's going to look like, where should commercial be, and all that kind of stuff. And we had a lot of citizen input, which was just terrific. Mm-hmm. Little Sugar trails are finished, 8 bridges, a bunch of tunnels, or 8 tunnels, a lot of bridges, one of the 2, but it's another 50 miles, and we are already lining up events that are going to take both trails into consideration. We've always had a great big weekend run where they would run the 40 miles on the back trail. They're going to try and do 90 miles this year and maybe split it up between the 2. So it continues to bring more people here, both in terms of visitors and residents. They're still spending their money here. We get terrific feedback on the trails, and of course we couldn't have done it without the Walton Family Foundation. Residential housing permits last year, well, they beat the expectation once again. We came in at 416.
Wow.
And since the end of 2013, we've seen aggregate growth in new houses of 3,625%.
Unbelievable.
From 35 houses at the end of 2013 to 416 at the end of last year. And year to date, we're about 25 ahead of where we were last year. And I keep hearing that there are more and more builders coming in. 300 lots were just put up for sale by one that bought it years and years and years ago. So I don't see anything really stopping at this point, but we're going to keep an eye on it, of course, because my mantra is still we need to manage the growth. We
Yes.
cannot let the growth manage us. We put a new traffic light in down at Kingsland in 71.
Thank you.
That was a 3-year labor of love. We just tripped across a whole bunch of stuff. The last was all the fiber optics running up and down both sides of 71. A lot of it had never been reported and mapped, so they would try and tenderly dig to put in the pillars, and oops, there they are again. But we finally found a solution. The library addition is all complete. We just recently got most of the new furniture in. It looks fabulous. And they are open for limited hours now, so I would encourage you, go and have a look at the library, and I promise you, you will be just enthralled with it. Even the new checkout area, because we replaced all that furniture and brought in furniture that was more conducive to 6-foot social distancing, because I suspect that's going to be with us for a long time.
I think we ought to take a crew down there and do a walkabout on that
Oh,
library.
Suzanne would love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's,
just, the new children's area alone is just fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a huge room for the community to come in and have events.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike the old library, when everybody was cramped together in that little back area, this is a huge spacious room that I think can sit around 60, 65 people. So
Is there a charge for those rooms?
I don't believe so,
Just
no.
sign up for
You
them?
just sign up for it, yeah.
That's good to know.
And then we can lock off the rest of the library, and there's an independent entrance that will take you right into the new addition. So
Excellent.
it works well. Road resurfacing, we got 31 miles done last year. Of course, we only do asphalt and slurry. Always looking for something new. I think we found something new this year that we're going to try. But we have pretty much completed the 186 miles of roads that were in peril when we had the study done in 2015, again in 2017. So I feel really good that we're getting ahead of the curve on this. And when we talk about what's on the 2021 horizon, I'll mention what we're going to do. It's very, very exciting.
Well, real quick, let's
Yeah.
put a plug in for the fact that you're talking about Bella Vista roads here.
Yes.
And what we're
yes.
going to talk about later has to do with the state. So
Yeah,
stay
we have
tuned,
nothing
folks.
to do. Yeah, we have nothing to do with the state
Right.
roads at all. While the library was closed because of COVID, we took advantage and we brought fiber optics into the library. We were using a satellite system that at its best day was pretty bad. And so we contracted out, we put it to bid, and AT&T won the contract, and they were able to bring it in from 340, which is Lancashire, up to the library. But that wasn't cheap. That was $20,000.
I can imagine.
But it's high-speed internet now, so that when you go in and you start using the computers, you're going to find a big, big difference in the upload-download speeds. CARES Act, we got a little over $1 million, and that floored me, quite frankly. We have certainly incurred expenses, and we were getting 3/4 of that being paid by FEMA, so this picked up the other 25%. And then we also had some special projects that were focused on COVID. Some of it was actually the library, and all that new furniture we picked up courtesy of the CARES Act.
Could we, just for those that don't know what the CARES Act is, could you give us a little?
Yeah, that was the one that was put into force by Congress last year with President Trump, where I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but they were actually giving out money in limited form to cities as part of the larger, let's give you so much on top of your I guess it was unemployment insurance, if I remember correctly, and the $1,400 each and that kind of thing. And so we ended up with 1,100. We have approximately 700 is sitting in the reserves, that I mentioned earlier, which is great. And then we came to the year-end finances, and we just blew the numbers away. It was, again, thank you for the internet sales.
Well, I helped you a lot with that.
Yeah. Well, we also cut back the budget in March of last year. We cut back probably about $2 million just to see what was going to happen. And by July, it looked as though we had an upward trend on the revenue. But we still cut back on a lot of expenses. We didn't send people out to travel and get to their school to take a class for whatever. It was all done by Zoom. Mm-hmm. And it's still being done by Zoom. Mm-hmm. And so we have learned a lot about how we can effectively save more money in the budget by watching what we did and what others did in COVID and what we're still doing.
Right.
And so we built the 2021 budget with that in mind. But the year-end finances, again, the reserve was over $9 million. And we only need, as I mentioned before, 25%. So we're probably double what we need. But it's nice to have that cushion, and we are going to spend some of it this coming year.
Well, with the growth the way it is, like you said, you're ahead of the curve there.
Oh, yes, yes.
You have a nice, you're ready in case you need it.
Yeah, and, you know, touch wood, we're never going to have anything drastic. We've had our share.
Yeah.
If you remember the straight line wind in August of 2019.
Yes. 8 trees later, I'm personally.
Yeah, no, we had 700 trees down on the trails and on the roads. I don't know how many fell in, you know, on the POA common land and, you know, et cetera. But that cost us about $500,000 to get all the roads cleaned up, get it ground up and hauled away. Then I was pleased, you know, we just had those back-to-back 3 storms and we didn't lose any power at all. So I know a lot of people have been upset with Carroll Electric and the cutbacks, but we didn't lose power. And
yes.
Cities around us were losing power all over the place. And then you look down in Texas, which more was, I think, an overload of the grid. But so just hang in.
Right.
It's worth it. You'll be able to have power, so you've got heat in the wintertime and you've got AC. You won't have to throw your, you know, the contents of your freezer out, which I've had to do on a couple of occasions in my life. And it will come back. We've seen it come back in the cuts they did, you know, the last 2 years.
The trees and things.
The trees
Absolutely,
and the
it will.
back.
It
Yeah.
will.
So, patience.
That's right. That's right. Well, I tell you what, why don't we take a quick break?
Sure.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk about what's happening in 2021.
Look forward to it.
All right. Oh, man, I got... Hey, welcome back. We just finished talking about what happened in 2020. So now, Mayor Christie, what's going on right now?
2021 is going to be the year of pure infrastructure. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the bond, of course, was issued in September and all the plans were laid out, et cetera. We've now started to build fire station number 3. And
you know what? I think we have some video clips here in a minute of it. When that comes on, maybe we can get you to talk about it. But in the meantime, what does that mean? Where is it? There it is, right there.
That's the old fire station number 3 that we were going to tear down, but we're not going to. We're going to convert it to a satellite streets building. There's the home of fire station number 3. They've got the pipes in under the ground, and they're now pouring the footings and the foundation. Once that's done, it's going to move rather quickly, and we're still looking to have the opening on October the 1st. That's provided the weather, you know, cooperates.
Right.
We lost a good week or 2 with the recent storms that we had, but it's going to be almost a mirror image of fire station number 4 that we built in 2016 that's over on Highway 279. But it's a very, very exciting project. I know that the fire crews are just chomping at the bit because they're kind of tripping over each other because we hired ahead of time. We've got all the equipment ready, so we don't have to go and spend more money just to set up the station. We've got everything in place.
Great.
And then, as I mentioned, we're going to keep the fire station number 3. It'll be a satellite because it's got 2 bedrooms in there, so when the storms are bad, especially in the wintertime, we can get a couple of fellows there with dump trucks and salt trucks and ready to go. We're still going to build a covered salt and sand facility behind it.
Okay.
so that as they're out there, they only have to go back to that facility, fill up, and then keep on going on the west side. And we've been doing that for a couple of years on the east side, and it's really cut down all the travel time so we can get at the roads faster.
Gotcha.
But then, of course, we've got the public safety complex, which is the courts and the police. They're now at 90% plans. That'll be up across from the Boys and Girls Club, right next door to the Streets building on 279, which is Forest Hills Boulevard. It's going to be a very interesting building. It's not a Taj Mahal. We've done it more for function, and it's looking really good, at least on paper.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be terrific, you know, once it's built. The fire training facility, we're still in negotiations on the land. There is a bit of a challenge with perhaps getting water on some of the sites, and but the money's still set aside. It's probably the easiest of the three to build, so we're not that concerned. But we'd still like to get it all finished by the end of 2022.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's the fire training facility.
Right.
All right. All right. Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah, sure. Highway 279 or Forest Hills Boulevard, it took a real beating on those storms, and it was not in good shape to begin with. What happens, the way a pothole forms is that the water gets underneath the asphalt, lifts it, and keeps lifting it, and then it gets into the base and it starts lifting the base. And that's exactly what happened out here. RDOT, of course, is responsible for it, as they are for Lancashire, which is Highway 340. They announced probably a good month ago that they were going to completely resurface and fix all of 279 from Highway 72, which is in Gravett, all the way over to the Missouri border. Mm-hmm. And that's good news. They said they would start in 2 to 4 weeks. Well, the 2 to 4 has come and gone, but we've had some bad weather in there as well. But they're still planning to do it. And I'm hoping that it's going to be sooner than later, because it's going to take some time. And they will always have a lane open, so you don't have to worry about being blocked. But it'll be good. It's been a long time coming, because that road definitely needs some TLC.
It looks like what they've done is done their best that they could. They've gone back and put in the gravel, which
Right.
really didn't help a lot.
No.
But then they're coming back and patching. So you believe that patching right now is just something temporary?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
Because when you look at it, there's no way that that's going to hold over time.
No.
And so, yes, it'll be temporary, and then they'll come in and actually do the proper job and get it fixed.
Well, now, and two, we're going to be having big trucks and construction equipment and stuff going over those roads. That's
Yep.
not going to help.
That's right.
It's going to help in one way, but certainly not
Yeah,
the road.
that's right.
I mean, we're grateful for those trucks and
Yep.
heavy equipment, but I know you're usually always on top of that, and so folks, please just kind of be careful a little bit and patient, because this is not, if the mayor could fix those roads, they'd be done.
Yes, I could, but by state law, I cannot use Bella Vista tax money to fix a state problem.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But street resurfacing for you, for us.
For us, yes. We're doubling the budget this year. We normally spend about 1.2 million on street resurfacing. We're actually up to 2.6 million. And one of the roads that we've been looking at is Pinion Creek down beside T.H. Rogers.
Yes.
And we resurfaced that probably 4 or 5 years ago. So when you first drive in and you turn left, it's pretty good. Then it goes around just on the corner of T.H. Rogers, and you can see where it stops. And then from that point on, until you get down to the buildings that are rented by the maintenance
Company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The road is pretty bad. And there's a reason for it. There's some erosion as Pinion Creek, you know, it floods periodically. The drainage is terrible. And you've got semis going into T.H. Rogers with loads. And then you've got the cement company down there with heavy, full cement trucks going back and forth all the time. So rather than just resurface it and hope it holds, we've decided as of yesterday that we're going to do it properly. We had an engineering firm out yesterday, and the piece of road between where we left off a few years ago and just past the cement plant is going to have complete workup of design and drawings to address everything, including the drainage. And how thick should that asphalt be, or should we go concrete? And then we're going to team up with the management team. I've already contacted them at T.H. Rogers and over at the cement plant. And there's also a service facility down there that does oil changes and tires and that kind of thing. And we'll get them in the loop too, because we have to make sure that they have adequate drainage and that the slope of the road is not unintentionally going to be dumping water down into their property and perhaps into the retail store for T.H. Rogers. So they've been very receptive to that, and we'll make it sort of a joint committee or group so that everybody's on the same page. And we should have those plans, the initial plans, by the end of next week, and then we'll have the initial meetings, and then we'll probably resurface it next year as opposed to this year. So that leaves a little bit of money in the budget, and I attended a demo last week out on one of our streets here where I was just spellbound at how quickly you can fix small patches, potholes, that kind of thing. It's got a rather odd name. The machine is called the Asphalt Zipper. But what it does is it's attached to one of our front end loaders on the bucket, and the front end loader operator moves this thing along, and it's on wheels, and it actually undercuts, and it goes down to the base, and it chews up the base and the asphalt so that you can reuse it for the base.
You're kidding.
No. So typically what you have to do is you have to cut around the area that you have to replace, dig it all out, haul away the old asphalt and the old base, bring in new base, come in and pave it. You cut out a lot of that. You don't have to bring in new base. We had our big roller right behind this thing, so as it goes ahead, it leaves a little mound of all the nice crushed stuff, and the roller just comes over, flattens it. And the county has one, and they love it. Bentonville has one.
Does the state have one?
The state has 4, I'm told.
Oh, good.
But they probably are using what I would call the mother of all mothers. These things are worth $1 million and $1.5 million, the type that state is using it. And you've seen them on the big state highways. They're big things that just grind it up.
Right.
Ours is much smaller, but it's still $215,000 before tax. And so we've done our homework. I spoke to a mayor and a public works director down in Texas that use it. They've been using it for years, very little maintenance. Nothing has ever broken on it. And so we're going to purchase one and try it. And we believe it'll pay for itself in 1 year. That's how much more efficient it's going to be. And so I'm very, very excited about that. But we're still going to push ahead. And I'm just looking here to see if Mike gave me any kind of estimate as to how much he hopes to get done. Double it. So doubling the budget, and he feels that if, once he gets this new machine, he can do the streets that would have perhaps taken longer time and might have been in jeopardy of being cut off the budget because we are at the mercy of the pavers, because we don't do the paving, we outsource it.
Right.
And but with this machine, he's going to be all ready, set to go. So I'm hoping we can get over 60 miles done this year, which would be terrific.
Yes, it really would.
Yep.
Really would. Well, that's kind of exciting. I know that during the, I believe you guys talked about this a little bit in the last work session. And what I want to remind folks of is the next city council meeting is next Monday evening.
Yes,
is that
it
right?
is. That's right.
So any of you, anytime, can always go out there and actually watch our city council in action.
That's right, it's all on Zoom.
It is in Zoom, and all you have to do is go to the website and go to the top of the page. I mean, I absolutely love what he does with putting the little Zoom thing
the
at the
link
very
is
top.
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you just
right
have to-
there. I know we got more to talk about, but I just want to do a plug for, everybody's talking about, well, we don't know what's going on. Well, I believe that we have responsibility a little bit to find out about things, and I'm giving you a way to know what's going on in the city.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, so Little Sugar and
Yeah, the
Tanya?
Little Sugar and Tanyard Creek bridges, just to help you figure out where that is. If you can picture where City Hall is and you're going towards the Highlands, so you've gone over 71, City Hall's here, and you have a bridge, then you go around that very tight turn, and then there's another bridge. Those are the two bridges. The first one is the Little Sugar, and the second one is Tanyard Creek. RDOT told us last fall that they wanted to start immediately. And so we had to go through some hoops because we had some Walton Family Foundation money that had been given to us so that we can put bike lanes on both bridges. And we got it done, we got the check off to them, and nothing's happened. And as recently as yesterday, I called Little Rock and I can't get an answer on when they're going to start. The contractor's all ready to go. And my concern is that they've got other contracts elsewhere.
Yes.
And if the folks at RDOT can't move fast enough, then the contractor is going to have to say, I'm sorry, but I have other jobs I have to go and do. And it's the same contractor that's doing the bypass. They've done excellent work up there.
Yes.
And so I'm hopeful that it's going to start soon. That's one of the calls I have to make today when I go back to the office, is start escalating
Okay.
and find out what's going on.
This is, we didn't rehearse this, so I'm going to ask you a question again. I think we've talked about it before, and I'm not sure I know the answer, and you may not either.
Okay.
But the corner there, where the bypass stops right now,
Yes.
and that great spot that they leveled out where that old farmhouse used to be, where the SAP construction had all their stuff.
Right.
Who owns that?
RDOT, if you look at the state, at the county GIS map, whether they will lease the land to somebody, it's an ideal place for, say, a gas station, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's not in Bella Vista. That's Gravett.
Right. The fence right there, that's the dividing line, yeah.
The road, Rocky Del Hollow, the middle of that road is the dividing line between the two cities.
I remember when you both paved from each end.
That's right. Yeah, we did. And but it is a perfect place for some excellent retail. The concern is where are they going to get the water, and they probably might be able to get it from the POA because that encompasses the POA. The breadth of the POA does not line up with city boundaries.
Right.
So it extends into the county. It extends into Gravett. Case in point is the shooting range.
Exactly.
That's over in Gravett. Mm-hmm. And but I believe it's county land. It's state land.
Well, that's what I thought for the longest time, and then somebody said that somebody in Bella Vista owned it, so I thought I would surprise you and ask you about it.
Anybody can go and actually have a look. If you Google Benton County, Arkansas GIS base, BASE map, and it'll pop up, you click on it, and it'll automatically start going, and you can zero in on the map right down to the parcel level, and then click on the parcel and tells you who owns it, what the value is, all the sales transactions. It's a great little tool.
Yes, yes.
But
well,
should we go to the vaccine?
Let's do the vaccine. Sorry about throwing that in there, but people ask me all the time, and I just thought, let's tell everybody today.
Yeah, the vaccine is first and foremost on our minds at the moment. It has been all-consuming since Martin Luther King holiday. That's when I got a call from the CEO at Northwest Hospitals, and I sit on their board of trustees, and he said, Peter, I've got all these vials, and I don't know how to get it out into the public. So I turned it over to Fire Chief Sims and our communications director, Cassie Lapp, And they had it all figured out in the weekend, and then we had our very, very first vaccination clinic, I guess it was that following week. And we did 803 in 3 days, but there was a lot of downtime, and we started looking at how can we improve it. So we had a big, big powwow afterwards and did a full post-mortem on the whole thing. And Cassie, for example, has a really good citywide text service that we've had for about a year. And we didn't have a lot of people sign up for it, but that's where you have to sign up to get a slot on the schedule.
Yes.
And so if you go to our city webpage, bellavistaar.gov, G-O-V, there's a menu in the top, and there's one item on the menu that says, I want to, ...
Yes.
Click on it, the menu drops, and one of the selections for you is receive text from the city.
Yes.
You click on that, and it takes all of 15 seconds to sign up for it. Then you'll be getting text. We do not overload your phone. It's only important stuff such as bad weather moving in, and signing up for these. So what happened was we also put some other IT improvements in the whole process. And 2 weeks ago at Reardon Hall, we hosted another one.
Yes.
But this time it was just one day. And we did an incredible 1,300 shots. And we did another post-mortem. And later this week, we're going to be doing another 1,000 shots, this time at St. Bernard's. And that, I believe, is on Thursday.
It is, yes.
And we have sent the text out. I haven't heard back from Cassie yet this morning as to whether or not it's full, but they fill up very quickly.
Yes.
And we like to think that they're only Bella Vistans, but we know that there are some from out of town as well. And you just can't turn people away because people need to be vaccinated. We need to get a handle on this virus and put all this pandemic behind us and get on with our lives.
I think even the governor has said it's more important to get the shot in the arm than it is to worry about how old you are or
Yes.
whether or not you're a resident.
That's true. And so we're going to again monitor this, and if it works, then we're going to try and do weeklies. Probably at St. Bernard's, but if the POA can free up some time at Reardon Hall, we may alternate back and forth. But if we can keep the supply coming in, that's been the big problem. Is for a long time the supply chain frankly was broken. And but we estimate now between ourselves, Jim down at Cornerstone, who's done a terrific job, CVS did Concordia, and then we had the JB Hunt event on Friday 3 weeks ago, because the second shot's coming up next Friday.
Yeah.
We estimate we've done over 6,000 people. And on a population of roughly 30,000, it's not bad. It could be better. And so we're always looking at ways to improve and how can we keep that supply of vaccine. So my promise to you is we are not going to give up. We are going to get this done.
I was so impressed. I was in that last batch at Reardon Hall, and I asked as I was going in, why are people lined up in the front in their cars? Well, you'd even thought about people that couldn't get out of their car, the handicapped, the elderly, whatever. It was fabulous.
And we have an at-home service too.
Yes, you do. Somebody was bragging on that last night.
Oh, were they?
They were. All right. Well, I believe, boy, I tell you what, I love these sessions because it catches me up. Now, in a week or so, a million other things are going to happen.
That's right.
But I have your phone number, so I'm not worried.
That's true.
But anyway, thank you so much, as always, for being
Great
with
pleasure.
me today.
Thanks for hosting.
And Bella Vista, come on. You have a responsibility to get out there and find out things. I loved what the mayor was saying about the text. You can find out a lot of things that you wonder about or ask your neighbor about who doesn't know what's going on in the city. So until next time, thank you, and we'll see you down the road.
Eric Gobra.